Hello everybody, welcome to the Redmen TV and your latest Liverpool news update. My name is Dan Clubb, that is Sam Walker. We're here to run you through all the latest in the world of the Reds over the past 24 hours or so. First off though, Sam, how are you?
All good, mate, all good. Still bathing in the glory of Sunday.
Well, it was glorious.
It was glorious, yeah.
It was glorious.
And the sun's out, so, we're winning, aren't we? Friday.
Yeah, very much so, yeah. Weekend off, in inverted commas.
Yeah.
Busy one ahead for some of us, but yeah, weekend without the Reds, which is a shame, but also a blessed release at times. Because after this, let's be honest with you, there's going to be very little days off. It's going to be intense, that footy schedule, but that's why we love it. Another reason we love it is Mohamed Salah, and his future remains somewhat up in the air. Definitely a topic of conversation, made even more so by the fact that he addressed his long-term future at the football club immediately after that game at Old Trafford, as you mentioned. Fabrizio Romano was the latest to throw his hat into the ring. He has told Court Offside in exclusive chat with them. Transfer expert Fabrizio Romano has tried to make sense of the latest news surrounding Salah. Mo Salah has been fantastic of late, you can say that again, but a lot has been made of that recent interview. He said to Court Offside in his daily briefing, "I came here, guys, to tell you again that it doesn't mean that Mo Salah is 100% leaving Liverpool, but he's waiting to have a conversation with the club, and this remains the point. I can confirm once again that Liverpool and Mo Salah will talk in the next days, weeks and months. I can't predict how long that conversation will be, but there will be discussions around Mo's contract situation. The story isn't over yet." Sam, good, because the way Salah sort of put it across after the game was the fact that the club hadn't spoken to him yet, and realistically that wasn't going to happen. But it appears that isn't the case. It appears though the club, Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, etc., will at least be having a chat with Mo and seeing how the land lies. Yeah,
definitely. I think it's always tough at the beginning of a season for any club, any player, because you play a game a week, and depending on your fixtures and how they fall and how your form goes, these 2 weeks now will be a massive sort of reflection period. So for some clubs, didn't do enough in the transfer window, did too much, should sack the manager, shouldn't sack the manager. And in our case, it's all about obviously the three lads who have got outstanding contracts that need renewing or addressing at least over the next 12 months. And I think for Salah, his form's come at a really good time, because I thought after AFCON he was quite poor last year. I mean, you were chatting about that on text with regards to the next AFCON, which I'm sure will be a massive topic once people realise when it is. And we were just talking about the effects of that, and I think he felt the pain of that injury and then coming back, and we didn't quite finish the season how we wanted to. So I think his start's been perfect for him, and with regards to his comments, I thought he was just really honest, and I think he's a mature character, knows what he is, knows where he is, respects us, respects himself, and was just absolutely honest. I think Richard Hughes would have watched that and be like, "Yeah, Samo, you're spot on." I don't think there's any ill intent there.
No, neither do I really. And he was definitely honest. And I guess he's done the majority of his talking on the pitch. He doesn't need to come out in the press and the media and say too much right now, because everyone's well versed, well aware of the fact he's out of contract at the end of the season. We know the interest will be absolutely through the roof in landing Mohamed Salah as a free agent, because why not? I mean, any club in Europe will be all over that situation, you would imagine. I don't see a world whereby he heads to Saudi. It feels like it's far too soon in his career for that, the way he's playing right now. I just don't see that happening, and the attraction of that move hasn't quite come to pass as we thought it might do at one point, I think it's fair to say. But just in terms of Salah and sort of how you think Liverpool should approach it, because we know there's a Trent situation, there's a Virgil van Dijk situation, and of course a Salah situation. We know right now Salah is the top earner at the football club. I think that's pretty common knowledge. What do you give him, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. Because we know Michael Edwards, when he's in the building, when he's in the room, it tends not to be, doesn't fall in favour of plus 30-year-olds getting big deals and new contracts, I think it's fair to say. So with all the data and everything we know about Mohamed Salah, obviously the numbers on the pitch speak for themselves, as I say. But I don't see a world whereby you give him a 4 or 5 year deal. I think it's short-termish, medium-termish, if you like. But in terms of the finances, where do you go from being the top earner is what I'm trying to get at. Because again, you've got Trent, you've got Virgil. How much wiggle room do you have with Salah's wages?
Yeah, and what we don't know is, from what I'm told, Trent's been offered a contract. I don't know what that is. That's what I'm told. He's been offered a contract. No, well, just what you hear, isn't it, on the grapevine? And he hasn't come out and said anything, has he, to contrary. But the reason why I mention that is because that could affect Salah. If Trent's been offered a contract on more than Salah, or below Salah, we don't know. The club may well, they'll have an idea of who they want to be their top earner for branding rights, for image rights, for how they're going to direct the market. And all of that comes into play. It's a business now. Virgil will be involved in that as well as captain. I don't know what Salah wants. I think the difficulty is if Salah wants the same, I suppose it's easier because you know what value you're getting. You can look at the data, blah, 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 his body and all this. If he wants more, it's a difficult sort of sell because last season he didn't play like he should earn more. He started off really well. I think what they will do is deal with Trent as fast as they can one way or another. And I think with Salah, they'll look at this next few months where you've got lots of games of football back to back and seeing how Salah's body reacts to playing. Because it's all good playing 3 games of football with 6 days off and 70 minutes, the games are dead because they're not all going to be dead on 70 minutes. So how is he going to be reacting after 3 months when we've had 12 games in 3 months and international breaks? Sorry, more than 12, whatever that works. 24 games in 12 weeks and international breaks involved. And if he's still putting up big numbers and his data's coming back on the health saying, this guy's still a machine, I think they'll offer him what in and around what he's on. And I think at the moment we haven't got the fully fit Mo Salah data from this season to back up next season. And it was something Paul Gore said in the show is what they do. I watched it the other day. What Liverpool do is they pay you for what you can do now, what you've done before. So I want him to stay. I love Mo Salah. I want him to break all the records in the Premier League and Liverpool. But I think the club will look at all the numbers. Yeah,
they definitely will. Like, so certainly with Michael Edwards in situ, because we know, albeit, it's been said before that he swallowed a laptop when it comes to football. I think he's led by the data. He doesn't exactly live and die by it, but he's definitely led by it. So it will come into the conversation without a shadow of a doubt. But what I'd say to that is, and by the way, I am bringing up chat, but they're just not working, so I apologise. I am looking at them and literally clicking them, and I realised after about 4 minutes that they weren't coming up on screen. So what a waste of my time that was. But do keep them coming because you're conversing between yourselves. So with Salah, you've just said there, so if you allow yourself the time and the breathing room to take a further look at what it looks like this season, Liverpool don't have that luxury though. Because let's say, we want to wait until the end of November, December, all of a sudden, it could take 3 or 4 weeks to actually get the deal sorted in terms of the numbers and the finances around it, by which point Mo Salah is perfectly within his rights to go and speak to Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG. So we've backed ourselves into a corner really with Mo and the others, by the way, but let's deal with Mo right now. We've backed ourselves into a corner, and Richard Hughes has come in for some criticism in around this, and some of it may be warranted, but some of it might be a little bit unfair because he's inherited this situation. It was inherited on his door after Jörg Schmadtke. Now, I don't think Jörg Schmadtke was ever appointed to sort out Mohamed Salah's contract. No, he was appointed for completely different means altogether. You could argue that Julian Ward and a little bit of Michael Edwards, but I mean a little bit before him, should and could have dealt with this long before this.
Ward left about a year after. So Ward left for a year and then he's come back this year. So Ward left a year after Salah had just signed the deal, hadn't he?
Right.
Because it was 3 years, am I right in saying that? Summer 2022.
But he actually orchestrated that deal, Julian Ward.
So him and Edwards was just leaving and he was coming in, wasn't he? Then he signed the deal summer 2022 after we had the quad chase. And then, I think so anyway. And then obviously he signed a 3-year deal, I believe. I think so, anyway. And then, so he would have left after Mo still got 2 years left in his deal. So I can't really, if that's the case, I feel like that's not really his fault.
But in that case, then it's just the upheaval.
It's just all the change and all. I agree. We didn't have it. We had someone doing a bit of work for Klopp, basically, didn't we? It was someone who we could trust to go and get deals done. But it is. I agree with you. I do think though Salah will know and Rami Abbas will know already which clubs are knocking on the door. I don't think they need to wait till January. I think the days of that are gone. The old Instagram DMs will be going off. How much do you want? How much do you want? Stuff like that. But I think Salah. I think the way Liverpool should deal with it is just be really honest and open with Salah. Like, say to him, look, we want you to stay, but we need to make sure that we're also not putting ourselves in a position where we offer you loads of money for 2-3 years, and then if for instance it doesn't work out, because there's never been a player in the Premier League who's hit big numbers at 33 since like Alan Shearer, I don't think. And when you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, who's the sort of health freak that we compare Salah to, I'm sure when he was 33 he went to Italy. And that kind of tells its own story.
Yeah.
So I think the club will be very wary about giving Salah 20 million a season for 2 years if they think he's not going to deliver the numbers to match up with the cost. So I guess there's got to be a bit of honesty between them in terms of, there might be something where they say, right, Mo, we'll guarantee you X amount, and if you do carry on performing as you are now, we'll pay you the free. If Mo's like, no, I want that money anyway, then that's where the sort of thing will come. But as a Liverpool fan, I want Mo to stay.
Yeah, of course.
I just try and, rather than just being I try and think about why they might be coming to these decisions, because it makes it easy to accept if he does walk away. No, you can kind of put some logic into your mind rather than just being upset.
No, absolutely, yeah, and it's a major balancing act, and I'm with you. Listen, my heart,
I want to stay, all day.
Especially when you watch what he can do and you see him what he does at Old Trafford, making it his playground essentially. You think, well, this lad just has to stay. There's no question about it. So when it doesn't immediately happen, and we're like, you have to start to think, well, what are the reasons as to why?
Exactly,
and that's it. There's a balancing act at Liverpool. Unfortunately, many people may like this, a lot won't. But Liverpool don't have an endless bottomless pit of money where we can just keep digging into and go and sign in the next shiny new toy. But Liverpool do have to act in a slightly different way, and it's brought us a relative amount of success. So I think we're all
I think he'll
on
stay,
board with it.
Yeah. I thought he'd stay until I saw when AFCON was next year, and I think that's a massive
red flag.
I just think it started...
For anyone that's watching, well, it starts at 21st of December.
That's when it starts, that's the first game.
And finishes sort of like the 16th of January, something like that. So it's right across the Christmas period.
So you're going to lose for a few days before, which there will definitely be games, and potentially you don't know, and we don't know how far they're going to get, but I think that's going to be a big part of the negotiations. We were chatting about it, in our chat about someone like Ben, or someone said that they think they might be trying to put something in where he retires, and then there's others saying, I don't think he will from Egypt. Yeah. So, but all these are factored in, because if the first of his 2-year extension, for instance, is going to be massively impacted by AFCON going away and then coming back, and we don't know what we're getting back, which has been not the same Salah the last 2 times. The first of his 2 years, which would be expected to be the higher performer, and wouldn't be that great potentially. So I think it's going to be a real difficult decision to make. Gut feeling might come into this in terms of, in the end, you might just have to go with whatever they got, because it is tough.
No, it's really, really difficult. For what it's worth, he did sign that new contract, the last new contract, in July 2022. So yeah, just over 2 years ago. So I think you're right. There was a lot of moving parts in around the people who were in situ to get this deal done. However, I've often heralded FSG for being one thing, and that sort of gold standard when it comes to appointments and having the best in class in place to deal with this sort of stuff. I think it's fair to say over the past 18, 24 months there's been many a misstep when it comes to this, which has allowed us to get to a situation. Well, exactly. It's allowed us to get to a situation whereby Mohamed Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Virgil van Dijk are all well in the final 12 months.
If Trent wasn't in that trio, I don't think people would have a problem. I think they were saying Virgil, Salah at their age, Liverpool had to wait as long as possible to make a decision.
Especially when you factor in the injury and the dip in form last season.
Absolutely. And the year before we had was poor, and Virgil had a bad year. So, but because Trent's in there, you just have to put them together and go, that's not on that, is it? Yeah.
It's really, really poor. There's no two ways about it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's if it's worse than poor, if truth be told. But I'll try and keep... it's really, really bad. It's a terrible, terrible look. Not as bad as Trent walking away for free at the end of the season. That'd be even worse. Any of them walking away for free would be pretty bad. But I think Trent will be by far and away the worst look. Just on that then, I'll sort of pull on that thread a little bit more. I probably asked this before, so forgive me, but I guess things change. What would be your sort of order priority on those three? Trent,
Virgil, Salah.
In that order?
Yeah, I just think the reason why Trent's our guy, look, they don't even need to go into that. 25 and all that, unbelievable. Virg, I think there's more longevity in playing centre half. He's not going to get smaller.
No, that is true.
I don't think his passing range not under a lot of pressure is going to change. I think his decision making will only get better because more experience, the better you get. So you might lose the odd little bit of sharpness here and there, but you can, a player with his attributes can handle that anyway. I think he has already adjusted over the years. I think with differences with a forward player is that I remember it, and I don't want to tarnish Salah with the same brush because it's not fair, but Aubameyang was one of the best players in the league, won the FA Cup for Arsenal, was fantastic, top player, scored 30 goals for them, and literally months later he just couldn't find his form. And I don't think, sometimes it's not necessarily their fault or whatever, there could be things, and I think Salah's a cut above him, but I think as a forward, I think it's a lot harder to sustain that sharpness than it is as a centre half. So therefore, that's why I would prioritise Virg. I don't think we can replace Virg for the next couple of years. I think there's ways that you could deal with. You never replace him, deal with the Salah exit if it happened.
I agree with the defender compared to attacker perspective of that, because I think you're right. There's been multiple more examples of defenders playing deep into the 30s than there has forwards at a certain level, of course, as well. Thiago Silva being the most recent one, of course. Pepe over in Portugal, well, being another, of course, Chile. There's loads. There really is, and I mean that's a very fair assessment. And I would have been more inclined to agree with you had Salah not shown this ability to sort of transform and evolve his own game, because I wasn't sure in terms of, because he played with such a dynamic way, and so much of his early sort of stint at Liverpool felt like he was not reliant, but pace was a hell of a lot of it, like his sharpness, his ability to run in behind defenders, and obviously Firmino would make that space. I'm not going to go into the tactics of it, but just how it happened. But Salah's found a way of almost reinventing himself, and he is now
a creator,
almost equally as important and equally as dangerous and much of a threat to opposition, but in a completely different way. So he's shown a side to himself in terms of his ability and his game intelligence, actually, that I wasn't convinced that he had. I knew he was brilliant, obviously, because of his numbers. But when it came to, he might have lost half a yard of pace. He's had an injury here and there. What does that evolution, what does Salah 2.0 look like? It looks like one of the best players in the Premier League.
And he was one pass away from completing the game on the weekend by getting a hat-trick of assists. He just went for the shot, didn't he? And Diaz scores, Salah gets 3 assists and a goal, and Diaz gets an hat-trick, and it was 4-0, unbelievable. I agree. The other side, which I should have said when I was sort of presenting the case of the three in order, is the off-the-ball stuff of a forward. I think as Salah goes on, you don't notice it at the moment. You just see the odd little stats, like he didn't press anywhere near as much as the other 5 in the front 6. I've heard that a few times now. It's just how impactful that becomes if it does. If he ends up being like Messi, where basically when he's got the ball, he's unbelievable, and you're not getting anything with him off the ball. If that's the case, then it all just depends how it affects us off the ball in this league, because it's nuts, this league.
Yeah, you need to be able to press. We've seen that.
And that's why. Look, there's not much between the three of them. Trent for me is out there on his own because he's just the future. But Virgin Salah's not much between. It's just my personal opinion. I completely respect if other people put Salah ahead because he's a god of our club. You know what I mean?
There is no right or wrong answer on
this.
It's
just Like some people go, no, Alisson's more important than all three. Sound. If you think that, then that's sound. Yeah.
The comment on screen now is suggesting Salah, and again, there's no right or wrong on this. You're perfectly entitled to your opinion. They all are so important to Liverpool's cause. It can't be sort of understated. However, for what it's worth, having said all of that, I agree with you on the Trent point, just because the time and where they're at in their careers. Like, we're talking future captain, we're talking Mr. Liverpool. He's got his best years ahead of him. He's coming into his prime. However good Virgil and Mo are, and they are, world class still, their prime has been and gone, like it or not. And I just sung the praises of Mo Salah and the fact he's managed to evolve and he's still as influential despite playing the game in a slightly different way. So not doing him a disservice by any stretch of imagination. But Trent is one of the best footballers in the world, and he's going to be that.
He could win the Ballon d'Or, couldn't he? Genuinely could.
It's silly to think otherwise, really, or even argue about it, most definitely, because again,
what a first world problem to have. Who's more important, Mo Salah, Trent, or Alisson?
And ultimately, new deals for them all in any way, shape, or form is kind of the point. I'll just round off. I wanted to bring up Diane's comment. Here we go. Sorry, there are aspects of Virgil van Dijk you can replace, but you can't replace that presence and influence that he has on other players around it. Absolutely agree with that, and also, captain the football club right now, so that comes into the thinking as well. And Carrier de Moore is absolutely spot on with this. That, I don't know. We've alluded to that a couple of times during this conversation already. How have we come to this point? There may well be reasons. Are any of them good enough? Do they hold up? Not for me. But anyway,
it's the Trent one. It's the only way explicable.
Fabrizio Romano has finished off his quote. He said, at this point, it's a possibility that he could leave as free agent in the summer. We know that. But it's not guaranteed at all, because Liverpool want to talk to Salah and Salah wants to talk to Liverpool. He's happy with the new project, Arne Slot and the directors, but his situation is similar to Virgil and Trent. These conversations will help to understand if Mo and Liverpool can continue together. So the discussion will take place, and let's see what happens financially and in terms of the length of the contract.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, let's move on then. That was a deep but brilliant chat. Let's do some international stuff. In fact, first, Sam, let's start with the fact that Federico Chiesa and Rio Gamoa were involved in the 21s training yesterday. I mean...
You mean Gianfranco Zola and Mbappe 2.0?
I think, worryingly, or positively from a Liverpool point of view, you might be more lucky with the Mbappe 2.0 comparison there. I mean, wow. Listen... A couple of training clips aren't exactly going to have me getting his name on the back of my shirt, but not a million miles away, because he looks properly talented. And I guess, more importantly, it's just good that both of them, in Gamoa's case, through the door this week, straight involved in 21's training, Chiesa wanting and willing to get involved in 21's training.
Absolutely. And I think Liverpool don't miss a lot with young players because usually the young players they sign are already like years ahead of where they should be at. Go back to Harvey playing at 16, Kay Gordon, same 16, made the first team appearance for Derby. Ben Doak playing football at 15. Was he at Celtic or something like that? Yeah. Ramsey was really young playing for Aberdeen. It hasn't quite worked out for him yet, but all these young players that we've plucked, even Kelleher, now he's a first team goalkeeper within the squad and plays international football. We can go on more Trey and Yoni. There's been more. You can probably throw some more into it, but that's the thing. They tend to get it right with these young talents. Even Jordan Ibe, Sterling, Jerome Sinclair, they were brought in as top startlets, but you can see the quality they have, and you can see the disappointments in Chelsea having to let them go. But at the end of the day, we've got now this attraction that there's a pathway to our first team, and even Arne Slot's now continuing what Klopp used to say is, it's all good as buying 25 first teamers age 22 upwards, but how are we going to get these young players into the team? So it's paying dividends for us now, and he's supposed to be a quick, dynamic, skillful winger, and I think the football's lacking those players now. You don't really just see pace merchants anymore who've got great skill. So hopefully he kicks on and gets in around the team. Yeah,
he looks like a bit of a throwback, doesn't he? Chelsea just say they're absolutely livid to have lost him. And I think what I like most about this deal, I mean, I'm looking forward to watching the kid first and foremost down at the academy, but it's the fact that seemingly he chose Liverpool because of that pathway and because of that well-trodden path to under 18s, 21s, and Trey Naoni is the most recent example of it. There are countless others as well. You alluded to some of them there. And Liverpool have made sort of academy recruitment their own in recent years, but Trey Naoni literally came into the 18s last year, having signed from Leicester, immediately looked a level above that, not in terms of physicality, but in terms of technical ability. 21s just looked so ready for that move, and just not out of place at all. Then obviously makes a little bit of a glimpse at the first team stuff as well, and likewise this summer. So phenomenal talent, and clearly Gamoa has seen that and gone, all right, they're sound. So, and a bit of a throwback as a winger stylistically, so really exciting.
Can I just ask you a question on that, which came to mind straight away when talking about the Chelsea stuff? Madueke, who's there now, who's got the hat-trick the other day. He's obviously he sounds Southern, so I thought he was from Chelsea. He's English lad. So where did he do his academy? Because if he's from their academy, then there is a pathway because he's playing first team football. I don't know. I just know he's kind of come onto the scene last few years.
He's not been in Holland. Let me just check.
I'm not sure, but
sure
basically,
he spent some time in Holland.
But basically, I didn't know if he was a signing or not, because when they're saying, "Oh, there's no pathway," I'm thinking, lad who's just got that tricks from the academy there. But obviously, maybe I'm wrong.
The no pathway thing is interesting. I guess it's become even more blurred, those lines, because of the amount of signings that they make.
Yeah, they've got like 50 new players.
Yeah, and so many of them being from South America, without putting too fine a point on it, like they just tend to throw money at these kids and then they're on loan left, right and centre all across the world. But you are right. If you really, if you're willing to concentrate on Chelsea's side, Levi Colwill falls into that category. Reece James, albeit injured, falls into that category. Madueke doesn't, but I'll touch on that in a minute. But Conor Gallagher did, and that was so there are examples of it, I guess.
They actually did okay until recently, but I do understand it. It's a great move for Liverpool, by the way, regardless. But I
guess the positive there, Sam, as well, is not only has the dynamic change at Chelsea now, and Todd Bowley's willing to just, as I say, throw cash left, right and centre, but also the treatment of some of the academy players has been really poor of late. You obviously mentioned Conor Gallagher. Trevor Chalobah falls into that category as well, just completely outcast. So
outcast,
He might have looked at that and gone, I don't want that to be me in 3 years' time. So just on Madueke, just to round off on that point, he was at Tottenham's youth academy, and then went to PSV as a 14.
So that's why he sounds like a Londoner.
But then did his whole upbringing at PSV and then signed for Chelsea last year. Okay, so I wanted to answer this question as well. It would be Trent. Touched on it a little bit earlier on. The money situation, top earner, it would be Trent, just because of what I spoke about. I think, and also you might have to give certain guarantees to Trent. Somebody else mentioned potentially promising the captaincy. That could come into it as well. But I also think the matching the top earner clause is such a big thing. It feels like now with the top end of footy, and I think with Trent you probably would have to.
It's just the right back thing, isn't it? That's the only thing.
As in,
are you going to pay a right back that money? Basically, that's the only sort of argument. That
he's not a normal right back.
No, absolutely not.
He's not a normal right back. Okay, we'll quickly round up some international stuff that's been happening, and a quick note on the injury front as well. International wise, Alexis McAllister scored a lovely goal for Argentina in their 3-0 win over Chile. Sam, just nice to see Alexis McAllister having an impact, I guess, because I mentioned his 2 poor goals the other day. Started the season well, McAllister. Not grabbed the headlines, not set the world alight by any stretch of imagination. I think that's been more Ryan Gravenberch, Dom Szoboszlai, etc. But we can't underestimate just how brilliant. I'm not saying anyone is, by the way, but we can't underestimate just how important he is going to be.
Oh, absolutely. And I think I didn't think he'd play the game, to be honest. I thought that he'd be rested because there was this talk about him being in pain and managing loads, but actually he just wasn't training. But I'm not sure if it was a proper game or a friendly or whatnot.
Qualifiers there.
So understand why he played then, and he did well, didn't he? Say 3-0. So I saw his goal, lovely dummy, lovely bit of play all the way across the park. Absolutely brilliant. So look, McAllister's one of those players I think who's just going to grow and grow and grow as a footballer. I think what we'll see with him is I almost see like a bit of a, not the same type of player, but almost a Modric pathway, whereas the older he gets, he'll just become more classy and more classy, where his experience matches up to his talent. And he's already an absolute linchpin in our team. Give him another year or two, I think he'll be a superstar.
Tend to agree with that. Mataru Endo scored.
Did he score? Did he? I didn't know that.
I think he opened the scoring. Definitely captain the side. I'm thinking right in saying he opened the scoring for Japan in a 7-0 win.
Is he still captain?
Yeah, he's definitely captain.
People need to put some respect on Endo. He's been getting hammered this summer. He's still a good level footballer, captain of his country. Did well for us last year. Japan are not a bad team, and he's their leader.
Can I won't push back on it, but can I present the case for the opposition on that then? Because I guess a lot of the uncertainty around Mataru Endo isn't the fact he's not a good footballer, because I think a lot of people have the belief that he's a good footballer, but he's a certain type of footballer.
Oh no, I totally agree with that, by the way. All of that. I just think he's been getting he's crap. There's been a bit of that this year, and I think, wow, that's a bit harsh.
That is unfair. But what I'd say is, for Liverpool standpoint, for
the way we're playing now, absolutely.
Clear. And I think Arne Slot's kind of made that rod for his own, particularly back by the fact that he did look at him in pre-season and then immediately didn't, and we came on.
He's going to play soon, isn't he? So we'll see.
He's been speaking about that himself. He basically said that we've only played 90 minutes of football so far. I'm sure my chance will come.
Did he get on the other day? I can't remember. He got on against Brentford.
I don't think he came on the other day. But anyway, I guess what the point here is the fact that he scored and captain decides to a 7-0 win over China is really good, because again, at some point we are going to need him.
Yeah, and I just think that he's a decent footballer. He's not, pretty on the eye in terms of skills and stuff like that. He's just a good, honest footballer. I think he does a decent job. I agree with all the points you're saying there, but it just shows again that that Japan team are a good side, and I think for him, going and playing football is great. We need that, because when he comes back, he will play games.
He'll need that shot.
He will play games,
Minamino scored twice, and Kubo, who was linked.
Back. Kubo, mate, I'm all about Kubo,
I thought you'd like that.
I like Kubo.
Conor Bradley played 90 minutes and was heavily influential in Northern Ireland's 2-0 win over Luxembourg, because Conor Bradley played football, so obviously. But there was someone else I wanted to touch upon. Now, forgive me, because people watching may or may not know that I love Ben Doak, but he made his Scotland debut against Portugal, which I thought was nice.
It's been a long time coming, that, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's been quite unlucky with injuries, actually, essentially, because I think he was called up to the Euro squad, not the under-21.
That's right,
Euro squad, and then got injured, so couldn't partake in that. So a bit of a shame for him on that.
He was like their Theo Walcott, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a wild card pick. And he is. He's fearless. He'll run at anyone and everyone. He's on arse. We've seen that in a glimpse we've seen from a Liverpool standpoint, haven't we? So Andy Robertson was obviously captain for that game, but Scotland were beaten 3-2, gave away 2 penalties, which isn't great. Andy Robertson didn't, by the way. Scotland gave away 2 penalties. I should clarify. And finally, Curtis Jones will be on the comeback trail. Good news?
Yeah, again, from the kind of information that I got told was that if absolutely needed, he could have been around for Man U. It was a very, very minor thing, but at the end of the day, what's the point in risking him? what is the point? Like, just keep, we had enough players fit, so a 75-80% Curtis isn't gonna make a big difference. Might as well let him recover. Absolutely. And again, we're gonna need Curtis, we're gonna need Endo, all the players that people have said, you don't trust or they're not quite ready. They're going to play games now, and I think they'll be fine. Especially Curtis. I think he's a massively underrated footballer by not just some of our fans, but I think unilaterally. Like, I look at the England squad sometimes. I know he's always injured when we have international breaks, but I think he'd do a great job in there.
Yeah, he would. Absolutely would. Yeah. KW Gaming says international break is so boring. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah, no.
Watch any international footy at all?
No. I don't really gamble neither, so I don't really
There's no
get
interest
involved.
in it then,
It's just like, no, I look out, so when the scores run, I'll see, did our players score? So, like, obviously I didn't know about Endo, which I'm made up about now. Yeah. But, like, I'll look, like, Canate, did he play for France? Oh, right, okay.
I think they're playing to Italy tonight, I want to say.
Oh, there you go. So, like, it's one of those, if you come across the game, like, Holland always seem to play France and Germany. I don't know why.
I think they are playing Germany this time around, yeah.
I don't know what it is. They just have their own little try sort of competition. But, so if it's on and I'm there, you catch it, it's decent, but it's not for me at all. Okay. I'm just glad there's cricket on to cover the
There is cricket on, yeah. It's literally on upstairs as well. Pavlos Costa, Harvey's injured. I think I addressed this yesterday, and MK.
Yeah, what is that? I'm not aware of that.
He's not injured, we hope. It's been suggested that he's just headed back to Liverpool to be assessed further, needs some potential.
I thought he might get put up to the first team. I mean, Harry Kane must really hate him now. There's players getting injured left, right and centre. He still doesn't get a sniff.
No comment on any of that. Sounds Liverpool News Show done for the day and indeed the week, because it is Friday, it is sunny. We are all going home very soon. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for getting involved as ever all week long and including today. I will see you all next week. Take it easy.